Hello, beloved colleagues. This is Troy, and I wanted to give you a tutorial on how to find and how to use the on-campus rubrics for both the Circle portfolios and for the Circle meetings that we will have coming up on Wednesday of this week. I mentioned this in the first meeting that we had, and I gave you text directions in email at one point, but I figured that a quick video might be the easiest way to show you how to access the rubrics on-campus if you haven't done so already. Step 1, log in to OnCampus. Once you have logged in to OnCampus, underneath My Day, you will find a section entitled Rubrics. If you click on Rubrics, one of the options available to you will be a rubric bank. This is where you can find rubrics that have been posted by other members of staff. If you go to this rubric bank, you will find that there is a rubric both for giving feedback on the Circle meeting and a rubric for giving feedback on the Circle portfolio. The way that you get these rubrics into your rubric bank is by clicking the dots next to them and going down to Add to My Rubrics. I'm not going to add them to my rubrics right now because, as you can see, I've already added each of them to my rubrics a couple of times, but once you add them from the rubric bank to your rubrics, you will be able to use them in any of your classes. Of course, you don't want to use them in any class. The class that you will want to use them in is your homeroom class. Your homeroom is obviously the same as your advisees, so this will already have a roster built in for you. We're doing it in homeroom rather than advisory because homeroom already has a gradebook associated with it. While this is not something that is going to get an official grade, this will make it much easier when it comes to using the rubric to evaluate the students and making sure the students are able to see the feedback that we give. There's not a lot in the gradebook right now. If you go and click on the gradebook, you should be greeted by a pretty empty grid of your advisees. Here is how you add the assignments of the Circle portfolio and of the Circle meeting so that you can give them a rubric for feedback. Step 1, click Add Assignment. For the Circle portfolio, type Circle portfolio. You do not need to give it a description. You will need to select a type. Don't worry too much about this. This isn't going to be something that shows up in any meaningful way. I'm choosing evaluation. You will need to give it an abbreviation. I don't know, portfolio. And unfortunately, since we are using a rubric, it will require us to have a number of points associated with it. Once again, can't stress this enough, this isn't something that's going to get a numerical grade. This is just going to be something that will need to trick on-campus into thinking, so let's make this a binary thing. Either they did it or they didn't, it is 1 point. One of the ways that we can make sure that this doesn't go into a grade is, well, unselect the Add to Cumulative grade. Underneath that, you have the important place to check, Associate Rubric. Here, you'll be able to choose which rubric you want to use when it comes time to evaluate this beast. Well, let's use the Circle portfolio rubric, first year. Then you can go down to Save and add another. Let's add the second one, the rubric for evaluating the Circle meeting. Once again, doesn't matter what type we choose, but I'm choosing evaluation, and let's go ahead and call it meeting and make it worth 1 point, but make sure it doesn't add to the cumulative grade. Associate rubric, let's go with Circle meeting feedback. Once you have both of those in, you can click Save, and it will set up a gradebook for you to evaluate the student portfolios and the student-led meetings. The way in which you then get back into that rubric is by double-clicking on the score box. If you click Save and Open Rubric and confirm it, it will bring you right to a rubric where you can point and click and evaluate the portfolio in front of you. You can say, yep, that was met. Yep, that one was met. Ooh, that one not so much. And if you want to or feel the need to explain yourself on any of these, you can go ahead and give them a comment. It's that easy to give feedback, and once you are done filling out the rubric or at any point, you can exit out of that grade and you can move on to somebody else's. If you're a little bit more comfortable leaving feedback in a written form, well, you can just go ahead and hit print and it will give you a paper document if you would like to evaluate this on paper rather than pointing and clicking during the meeting. We have some options available here. One thing to note is that you do not want to hit the commit grades and post rubrics button until you have done the evaluation for both the Circle portfolios and for the Circle meeting. It will make it very difficult to edit things once you hit that button. But once you have made it through the meetings with all of your advisees, you will be able to hit that button and save, and hopefully we will be able to have our advisees see it. There may be some snafus since we have not tried this before, but we are confident that from there we will be able to get this into a format so that students will see it, and again, not be worried about the fact that it will affect their grade. Thank you all for being so great in asking questions from the last time I did one of these. If you have any questions, please shoot me an email sometime today or tomorrow, and I will try to get you an answer as quickly as possible. Thanks a lot.